Lack of confidence is what's destroying you. You don't have confidence when you go through the day, when you walk through the door. People that are unconfident don't make eye contact and greet the elderly lady when they walk through the entrance. People that lack confidence curl up in a ball when things happen that they don't like. People that lack confidence talk shit on other people. Your lack of confidence affects you and it affects everyone around you. How do you think your wife looks at you when she knows that you lack confidence? And how does she know that you lack confidence? Because you won't even follow through with the things you tell her you're gonna do. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna do this. I'll take out the trash. I'll be better. But you're constantly failing those tiny little things, and those tiny little things affect every single other thing in your life. And those compound into big actions, which ultimately lead you nowhere. Your wife looks at you every day and thinks, he's probably gonna promise something once again that he's not gonna deliver on. They see you come in the office. They see you walk around. Like, this guy, he's unreliable. Why is he unreliable? Because he's not even a confident person. He can't even hold his own word to himself. Hey, what's up, guys? Austin Hancock here. I get a lot of messages asking for some help in some capacity, whether it's financial, fitness, mindset, something to make your life better, something to make it to where you can go from this point right here, where you are now, to the dream life that you've always wanted to be living. Shoot me a text or give me a call, 405-697-4072. The number's right here, 405-697-4072. Call or text the number and let's change your life. No one else gives a fuck if you make it. No one cares. No one cares if you make it. I think so many times people think that there's other people that are really genuinely cheering for them. And they may be. Mom, dad, maybe some close friends are cheering for you, but they're only cheering for you until you start to move past their vision. You start to think bigger than them. You start to grow and outgrow them. They're not cheering for you at that point anymore. They're just out of their comfort zone. And therefore, they're out of their comfort zone. They're gonna try to bring you back into their comfort zone, and they're gonna tell you everything that you're doing is risky. Well, I can tell you right now, the biggest risk that you take is not taking any risk. Taking no action whatsoever is a for sure outcome of nothing, or to stay exactly where you are and to slowly digress, to sit in the chair one day after you retire and fucking die. The other alternative is to constantly seek progression. It's to constantly grow and to keep moving forward on your own with the people around you that you can bring with you, your family, that you instill confidence in. By doing it, that's how you move forward. But the other people are not rooting for you. No one's rooting for you. And it's up to you. No one's gonna come out and say, hey, now's the time to get into real estate. Now's the time to start making more money. Now's the time to get your body in shape. You've constantly told yourself over and over and over that you're gonna make these changes. You promised your wife every fucking Christmas that, hey, after Christmas is over, the new year's gonna be coming and I'm gonna lose that weight. I'm gonna quit that job. I'm gonna buy that boat. I'm gonna get that lake house. I'm gonna blah, 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 bullshit, fucking paint a picture and piss on it because you didn't change anything. You're not changing anything. You have to make macro, bold adjustments to actually change. And the one thing that you have to change is yourself. Time and time again, I've had people come to me and they tell me, hey, Austin, I want to learn about real estate. I want to learn about making money. Or some motherfucker says they want to get jacked, they want to lift weights, but they fall off in the first 30 days. Or they start nitpicking the fucking routine that I send them. And it's fucking bullshit because you think you know more than the guy you're asking advice from. But you're still there thinking that other people care. Other people care. There'll be someone that helps me up one day. I can't catch a break, but I will one day. No, you won't. You will never fucking catch a break. You have to go and take your shit. If you want it, you go for it. You don't need someone else to reassure you. You don't need someone else to build you up so that you can fucking take off in that business. You don't need all the things set up for success that you paint this bullshit picture of. You just need to take action. And when you start taking action and you start taking control of your life, that is when you'll become the most free. There was a time in my life where I hired someone that he was 21 years old and I sat down with them and I started to ask them what their aspirations were and what their goals were. Maybe you're 21 right now. You're not a kid anymore. When I sat down with this 21-year-old, he says, I still got time. I'm a big kid. I said, motherfucker, I was out of the Marine Corps at 21 years old and I had purchased a $150,000 house with the VA loan. I wasn't a baby anymore. I wasn't a kid anymore. You're not a kid anymore. And here's the deal. I'm not saying everybody should go join the fucking military. You don't have to go join the military, you know? But what you do have to do is take control of your life and stop relying on the system or school or your mom or your dad or your uncle or your friend or your job to come over here and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, now's the time. When is the time? When's the time to grow up? I'm not a kid anymore. Blew me away because you have so many responsibilities as a young man when you do join the military. So you're immediately forced into a different reality and an expectation is held much higher. And that's what allows you to develop. And that's what happened to people back in the 1920s, 1930s. Your grandfathers and grandmothers were raised harder than you are. But the timeline, that's where the real problem sets in. You think you have fucking time. You don't have time. Time is passing every day. Think about this. The person that started earlier is going to be more successful than the person that waits longer. So start making your mistakes. Start making the mistakes so that you can course correct them. Some of my most successful entrepreneur friends have GEDs and dropped out of high school. And they made more money than all of the people that went to college. Why did they do that? Because they got started earlier. They fucking got the lawnmower. They started mowing lawns. They figured out how a transaction was done. Then they started a landscaping company. They failed. They succeeded. They failed. They succeeded. All about the reps. So the sooner you start putting in the reps, the sooner you'll start to see real growth. Not only grows as your business, but what also grows is you throughout that process. Because you realize if I'm gonna have to hire 3 people to help me push these fucking mowers, I'm gonna have to be a person that makes sure that they get to the job site on time. I'm gonna have to be responsible for the gas in the truck. I'm gonna have to be responsible for Mrs. Smith's lawn when we didn't mow it when we said we were gonna mow it. I'm gonna have to be responsible if it rains that, hey, I'm gonna send them a notification so that we can go do it the next day. You're responsible. That's what happens when you start taking action. You start taking control of your life. And that's why when you take action is when you become more successful. Stop sitting on the sidelines and hoping somebody else will come pick you up, because they won't. You and I both know real estate makes money. Everybody knows real estate makes money. You can Google right now and say, what is the #1 wealth creator, or what is one of the top 5 wealth creators? And you and I both would find that real estate investing is that. So my question to you is, what's taking you so long to get started? You know this works, and you know you need to do it. And you've been talking to your wife, laying your head in bed with your spouse every night, talking about this dream, talking about this fantasy that you're gonna make a change, and that you're gonna get into it, and you're gonna do it. And you're gonna one day sail off into this cash flow freedom island, and you're gonna quit your job. But the reality is you've been fucking sitting on the sidelines so long that you've just started to collect information, and now it's just more confusing than when you got started. That's because you didn't take any action. You need to stop sitting on the sidelines. You need to stop putting these bullshit things in your way of, we have to have X amount of money, we have to have X amount of this, we have to be doing this, we should get at this point in life, we should have this paid off. All of those dumbass things are what's holding you back today, and what's ultimately going to cost you the success that you could have had if you would have started 5 years ago. You're better off starting sooner than later. Let me ask you this: in what world has waiting paid off? Was it a good idea that you waited to ask that girl out on that date? Was it a good idea that you waited before you did the decision? No. Now, most of the time, of course, if it's a positive direction, if it's in a positive direction by all means, it's not worth waiting. If it's a good idea, if it's a positive direction, take the action now. Waiting has done nothing for you in the past. What's sad is I see people that start in their 20s, then they move to their 30s, 40s, 50s, and I get calls from people in their 60s, and they've waited their entire fucking life to take control of it. The time is now. Whatever phase of life you're in, if you're not gonna take control of it, then somebody else is gonna be in control of your life. It's up to you. One of the biggest mistakes that I have made in the past was taking advice from people that were more financially successful than me, but with every other parameter of their life was falling apart. I would sit at a table with entrepreneurs that had sold 9-figure plus companies, that were running 8-figure companies, doing millions of dollars in revenue. And I would sit at that table, and what I realized when I walked in the door is that I had all of my other disciplines lined out. I had a beautiful family, beautiful wife, I had a great relationship with them. I had a great physique, a good body. I was proud of my health. I was confident in who I was. And I would walk in the door, and I would sit down, and I would take advice from these insecure pussy boys that had sold massive companies, and they would sit there and piss away all of the other things in their life. We would go on trips sometimes when I was in these groups, and they'd gamble hundreds of thousands of dollars. Degenerate. Lie to their wife about where they were going. This isn't who I want to be. This isn't what I want to be around. So I tell you that because that is one of the biggest mistakes that I ever made, was seeking a group of counsel. Seeking counsel from people that didn't have everything that I wanted. Because ultimately at the end of the day, I could have all the money. I could have this massive business. I could be worth billions of dollars. But if I were to spend it alone, with no family, nobody to experience it with me, no loved ones, it's ultimately worth nothing. It's not ours to keep anyway. We're all gonna die one day. Time and time again, at the beginning of my entrepreneurial come up, I had friends reach out to me asking me, man, what are you doing? How are you doing that? Blah, blah, blah. And I would tell them, because I want to see other people win. I've always wanted to see my friends win. And so when I would explain to them what they needed to do and get them hyped up, and I was all jacked, and I was like, I can show you everything, dude. I would love to bring you along this journey so that we have time together, that you have more money to do cool shit, and we can hang out as a family with the same mindset. But what I quickly realized, they would race back home and ask their wife for permission, and their wife would squash all of their dreams into oblivion because they've never followed through with anything else that they'd ever said. Their wife would say, okay, another fucking fantasy idea, and they don't have any confidence in them. They didn't believe that they would go do this venture because they hadn't followed through with the last fucking 19 things they said they were gonna do since they got married. They barely help with the kids. They're a yes ma'am all the time around the house. Women don't want that. They want you to be confident in the decision that you're gonna make could follow through with it. And that's the mistake that I made, was wasting time giving friends advice. Women want a man that they can trust. How the fuck are they supposed to trust you when all you've done is run your mouth and bullshit your way into a marriage, lay your head next to him and spew more bullshit? How many times, men, how many times do you lay your head next to your wife and tell her about all these dreams of all of this aspirations, the money we're gonna make, the places we're gonna go, the lifestyle I'm gonna provide, ultimately to have a piss poor work ethic? Every single day you do nothing but just destroy yourself with some bullshit device or some vice that just ultimately tanks you. You come in, you don't help with the kids, you don't help with the dishes. You aren't a fucking man. You're not a man at all. You're ultimately a big man child, and you're a liability to your family, because all you do is regurgitate all of these things you see on social media about how you're gonna manifest this into reality when you have a fucking Z-class performance. It's time to take some fucking action and put your money where your mouth is, or you're gonna lose it all. I'm gonna give you two scenarios right now. So somebody walks in the room, you don't know how much they're worth, but you're told that they're a very important person. They're fat and sloppy and out of shape, their clothes don't fit correctly. What's your immediate opinion? Be honest. You have a subconscious nature in your mind right now that sees that person and you're like, I don't know about them. You don't trust them. You don't believe that they're gonna follow through with what they're gonna do. You really wanna know what they're an expert in because you judge them. I can tell you right now, as a guy that's in shape at my late 30s, I can tell you that it is extremely important. Now the next scenario, boom, dude walks in, he's in shape, he's confident, look at people in the eyes. You don't know his net worth. You just were told that he was important. What do you think about this guy? This guy's gonna send a message. Oh, this guy's good looking. Oh, this guy must work out. All of those things. He holds himself well. Why? What's the difference in the two people? Their shape of their body and the confidence that they bring into the room. It affects everything that you do. I promise you, it affects you, whether you believe it or not, because as a man, I measure other men that walk in the door when I'm at a restaurant, when I'm at a convention, wherever I am. I measure other men and I say, hey, this is a fat, sloppy fuck. I'm not intimidated at all. This guy's not a threat whatsoever. And then I see somebody that is, and I'm like, this person works out. This person trains. What do? Guarantee, I know when you guys notice a fighter because you see the cauliflower ear. What do you think? Oh, I don't want to mess with that guy. Right. So what do you think happens when your sloppy ass walks in the door, whether you're fucking worth $1 or you're worth $100 billion? Everybody still looks at you like a weak person. They look at you like a non-threat, because I've been next to people that had net worths of over $100 million and I still wanted nothing to do. There's a fucking standard in my operations. Anybody that works with me, there's a standard. And I hold that standard. Yeah, dude, we don't allow fat asses on our team. Truth. Why? You hold a standard. What do you think that person's performance is gonna be like? Now, granted, I've seen some overweight people do some fucking work kind of hard. But the reality is, they're not confident people. And unconfident people make decisions based on emotions. More confident people make rational decisions. It's not the person that's the most confident or the most testosterone that walks in the room and acts like an asshole. It's the most beta bitch boy that's insecure that harms other people. Confident people don't harm other people. Inconfident people do. And when you're in shape, when you feel good about your body, when you hold a standard inside your company, when you hold a standard about your friendships, when you hold a standard about your marriage, when you hold that standard, you're ultimately going to attract A players. And then you're going to get A performance. And it's much easier to work with people when you can communicate clearly and the emotions are not involved.